Oh my God, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Uncanceled Culture. And so we're going to start off with something major that's been hitting. It's actually the second one that's kind of got everybody stunned. We all know what the first one was, but here in San Antonio, the most recent one, unfortunately, has been the apparent murder-suicide of a young mom. Well, how old was she? 30?
32.
32? And the kid was only...
Three.
So if you don't know, they were put out... It was an Amber Alert that was put out...
On Monday
for these individuals. And eventually they were found... At,
the next morning, yeah.
The next morning. And there's a lot of stuff that's been going around. I know... The Louie, our investigative reporter, has a lot of information. So, So it's still at this point, it's still a murder-suicide.
At this point, it's still that's the presumption, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying that it's looking like a murder-suicide. They haven't officially labeled it as that. Right now, it's being investigated as a homicide, but it's looking more and more as a murder-suicide. Just because they found the weapon nearby.
Well, right, yeah. And see, there's a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and of course, we were talking off air, and Louie was bringing up a lot of stuff. I'm like, we think we should hit record.
Yeah, hit record.
Let's hit record, and let's talk about this because. There's a lot of stuff that was going on, custody battles, and now there's this money that was taken out of the account.
They had recently filed she recently filed for divorce.
She did. It was
like weeks, 2-3 weeks or something. She had also gotten a restraining order on her husband, and
wasn't it the day after? I think she served him with the divorce papers, and she got a restraining order.
Yeah. So and just kind of looking at some of the records, it talks about domestic violence and sexual assault,
right,
and things of that nature, right? So she filed a restraining order. Kind of digging in there, it seems like he filed a restraining order on her as well. Again, those are real touchy and kind of hard to see. I've known some people where they file a restraining order on somebody, and just so that way there's a type of record, the other person does the exact same thing, and that way it kind of pushes some of the attention away from them, and it seems like, okay, they were wrong too, or they were doing something bad as well, and so he did it as well. Now he didn't do it until later, so of course we don't know what's happened in the weeks since then. But Monday.
So wait, I got a question then. So what kind of evidence do you need to get a restraining order on someone?
You don't need anything. What you do need is a police report. That's all you
just
need.
A police report. And it could be about, he showed up to my house.
Yeah.
That's it?
There has to be. This is what the police have told us before. You have to be able to file a police report. And you have to show that you've told this person to stay away.
Okay.
And if they continue, then you file that's already enough. So you don't need physical abuse. You don't need. You can say all that happened, but as long as you say, I don't want this person around, I want to file a report. I've already told them to leave me alone. Here's a text message, or here's whatever voicemail, whatever that I can show you.
Yeah.
And you can take that and they'll file a restraining order.
Yeah, well, that's why I had
Yeah.
the question, because like I guess you don't. Need
Yeah, what
much.
does it take? So
You know what I mean?
for him, I mean, he could have said the same thing. Well, we've been going back and forth, and we're about to go to a custody battle, and she's harassing me.
Right, I need her
so
to
he
stay
tries
away.
to do the same thing.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's
now. Just kind of hearing everything that's going on, right? So her restraining order had to do the things that were allegedly, that happened to her. Yeah, allegedly,
use
right?
That word.
We have to use that word. Was domestic violence, physical abuse, and sexual assault. Right? Those were the three main things. On his, it didn't really state anything. It just stated that he filed one as well. So the things that we know and everything that, of course, everything that's come out on the news and in the paper, or I say paper on the online, right? Like mysa.com and all that stuff.
On the line.
On the line. She left work early on Monday at around 2 p.m. Went to go pick up her kid early from school. She stated she had to take him to an appointment. And then around 4 p.m. nobody had heard from her. And so family members and other people had called for a wellness check. And so they showed up to her place, and they make entry and they don't find her. According to reports, the officers say that they saw something that made them very
suspicious.
Not
very,
but it was like
it was cause for concern.
Cause for concern for the child.
Right. Oh wow.
So, it didn't really say cause for concern for her,
right,
but it was cause of concern for the child. Now, apparently she goes to a bank and pulls out money, but then they start trying to track her. They start pinging her cell, and that's how they realize that the vehicle, or that she was at Tom Stick Park. They go over there, they find her vehicle, they find the purse. Again, I don't know if the money's there or not, but they find the purse, they find her vehicle, they don't find them. They do a search for about 8 hours and don't come up with anything. And this is what freaking gets me, bro. Like, and Kranky was mentioning it too. It seems like every single time the Bexar County Sheriff's Department is involved, it's like they're not thorough enough, right?
Yeah.
She was literally hundreds of yards away from her vehicle. She was found the next morning.
She was like in a small ravine.
She was like in a small ditch. So they're kind of creating a little ditch right around the area. And that's where she was found in. And she was found by an officer the next day. And I'm thinking, if you had a search party, how I don't get why
where was
just
they
one
looking?
officer is going to go over there and all of a sudden finds her, right? Whatever. That's just me thinking. Now, they find her, and they were both deceased with gunshot wounds, and they found the weapon nearby. Now, reports, and again, they're not confirmed, but they're reports from family members and friends and people, I guess, that have already made it to the scene,
and TikTok
that the weapon wasn't really like too close to them, but it was close enough for them to say that they think it was a murder-suicide.
Yeah, but how close?
Exactly.
That's a question.
And that's what gets me, right?
If it's a murder-suicide, and of course the second person offs, and it's like, do they? You're not gonna. Anyway, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. It's got to be within a foot.
You would think, right? I mean, they're not gonna shoot, then toss the gun somewhere.
Like, how are they gonna do it?
Or run and do the and then fall. Like it's not. That's not gonna happen. Like I don't see that happening either. Especially if she was trying to off herself. I would say she's going to shoot herself in a place that she's gonna go right away.
Right, and this is all speculation.
Yeah, it's all speculation, right?
We don't know.
We don't know
what.
Now, the kicker, and again, if you hadn't heard the story, which I'm pretty sure you have, but if you haven't, the girl, her and the husband were supposed to have a custody hearing on Tuesday.
That day,
right? On the 19th.
The day that she was found.
The day that she was found.
Right.
So, of course, the speculation is that they don't know how the custody hearing was going to go, but she was in a place where she was frustrated and so they're thinking motive was she doesn't want him to have the kid.
Right.
Now, speaking to people that know her,
yeah,
or knew her, right, back in the day, everybody, of course, is saying, this does not sound like
that's not her.
Not something that she would do. She was the sweetest person. She was a great mom. You know, we've had conversations. Everything's great. Now, again, I tell everybody, and we talked about mental health last week and the week before. You never know what somebody's going through, what they've encountered, what they've endured, and then what has led them to that point. She could have suffered some stuff.
There's always a trigger.
She could have suffered something, right? And maybe that pushed her over the edge again. But everybody's like, this isn't her. Now, the stories that have come out, the mom came out and she posted some stuff. The mother-in-law, which is the husband's mom, posted some stuff saying like, well, this is what happened. She had told him the day before that he was not going to see his kid again.
Who?
That the mom. The mom, okay. Right?
Okay.
And the girl's name is Savannah.
Okay.
So that the mom had told the dad, you're never going to see your kid again. And that the next day, that when she picked him up, she FaceTimes him and tells him to tell the son to tell his dad, tell your dad bye, and you tell your son goodbye. So again, that's speculation because this is coming from the mother-in-law, right? Who, if you have a couple that's dealing with something, they're always going to take sides of your side, right? So again, speculation. But this is what she's saying, baby. And that he called his lawyer, and lawyers called authorities, and that's what set off the Amber Alert and all the let's try to track her, right? I don't know, man. I've been looking at the news and every single day to see if there's any updates. Been going and kind of rabbit holing, and I have my own investigator that does that too, right? And so she's been kind of going through it, and she sees my sources. I have my own source. Yeah, sources. And so she said that she also saw a post from the mom, the girl's mom, that was saying like, no, like this isn't her. They had a strained relationship, her and the mom, right? But this isn't her, and it's just. More things are coming out. More things have to come out, and all this stuff. The things that get me is she went and pulled money out. For what?
Right.
If she was going to off herself, why would she pull out money? Why would she need money? And again, I think you asked the question, where's the money? Did they find it in her purse? Did they find it on her?
Right.
Is it gone? What happened with it, right? There has to be, you can't say she went and pulled money out and then you don't give any other details.
Right.
What happened? Did you find the money? And I don't see her, that's a step that you would overlook or you would pass and not do if you were going to off yourself.
That's right. So, because why? What are you going to do with it? I don't know.
I don't know. The story is it was gaining momentum on Tuesday night and Wednesday, and then today it's kind of like
under the rug.
It's just stopped.
Like nothing.
Every time they come out like, well, we have more news, it's the exact same stuff.
That's not news then.
Exactly. Well, and like Kranky said, I really, man, every single time that they say, the BCSO is involved, man, I don't feel comfortable to say, oh yeah, everything's being done right.
Yeah.
I don't.
So could it possibly mean, and of course again, we don't know, everything is speculative, even what we're saying, but could it be that when the investigation gets to a certain point, and of course they're not going to tell, they're not just going to come out, the county, and whatever Bexar County says, but they're not going to come out and say, well, yeah, this is what happened. No, they're kind of keeping it close to themselves. But could it get to a point in the investigation where they say, well, this is it, this is what happened?
Yeah.
Well, and then from that point, it just kind of levels out because now what? There's no investigating.
But at that point,
you know what happened.
That's when they finalize the label of it was a murder-suicide, and they haven't done that. They've said this is what it looks like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
And so, but for them to stop kind of giving out info. Now, the other reason that they could be not sharing so much info is that maybe there's some things that still might be coming out that somebody else might be involved. And again, the speculation from family and friends is that they feel it was a pretty heated, chaotic and toxic relationship with the husband, that who knows if maybe he had something to do with it, right? And I do the devil's advocate all the time, and so when I'm hearing this, I'm like, yeah, but hold on, there's no proof. If there's no proof, then you can't just throw something out there like that and say, well, he was involved when they've already, again, checked his alibi and he was at work, according to what reports say.
Right.
So, but could somebody else have been involved? Could
he have paid?
Could he have had somebody else involved? Like, who knows?
You brought up that point off the air that what if he did?
Yeah.
What if he did hire somebody, to do it? Or maybe that's what, I don't know. I'm just, my thing is, like, if they get to a point where they already know what it is or what happened, then what more information can they give if they already know that that's what happened? Or they could be and not know what's going on and be like, well, we're gonna need help. You'll know if that happens. I mean, they'll call in. But usually, and I just found this out, that it's usually smaller towns that have, like one or two sheriffs. Like if something ever happens in that town, they call the Texas Rangers, and the Texas Rangers come in and they help them do the investigating, the questioning and all that stuff. But we're a big city. Like we should have competent, people doing investigations and shit like that. But
a big city with multiple law enforcement
agencies. You got SAPD and Bexar County, obviously.
But then you got the little ones too.
Like all the TikTokers?
No, not those. Them too, yeah. They're really. But I'm talking about the little subdivisions, Balcones.
Oh yeah.
Live Oak,
yeah.
Bandera, or Leon Valley.
Leon Valley. Right. Yeah. But I think sometimes what happens with those is that they give way to the bigger one. Like Leon Valley doesn't say, no, we got it.
Yeah.
No, we'll take it. No, we got it. Don't worry about it. No, they'll usually yield it to the bigger one. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of funny that y'all mentioned the sheriff thing. Mm-hmm. Because I was just watching a show last night. I hadn't seen it, but I was watching some of the episodes, and it was called Murder Under Friday Night Lights, something like that.
I've seen
it?
Yes.
But have you seen some of the episodes? Because all of it has to do with either a football player.
It's stuff that happened, like for football.
Yeah, like either it was a football player.
Football related.
Right.
It's football related.
In some way, somehow.
Yes.
Either the person did the killing or the person was killed.
Yes.
And so, yeah, but it's funny. On one of them, they showed where the sheriffs were being scrutinized for everything that they were doing because they couldn't figure out. They're like, how do you not know where he was, or how do you not know, like, they said he was on this road, but yet his body's not there. And then, years later, like 4 years? I don't know how it was, like in 2017 or something like that.
And I saw that one too.
Right, with the cell phone. Remember the cell phone that they found, and it was brand new, but they found it on the side of the road like 5 years later. They're like, wait a minute, what's going? But to your questioning of our sheriffs here, it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe there is. Maybe the sheriffs don't know what they're doing, man. I don't know.
Well, and Kranky mentioned, he's like, I don't know, man. I think maybe he needs to get voted out. I think he's been in that position for too long. And honestly, how many times have you seen all the things that are going on within the department?
Yeah.
So under his umbrella, under his watch, there's it doesn't seem to be getting better. It seems to be getting worse.
They're short-staffed. They always talk about being short-staffed, not having enough people in the jails or the detention center or whatever. People are smuggling in, guns and phones and all sorts of stuff. And then you have people who were put on, like a suicide watch, or were supposed to be put on a suicide watch and never were, and then they find them in the cell, and they're hanging from their bed or whatever. It's like, no, man. How long has it been? It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Oh man,
it's been a while. Screw you, Aaron Lewis. I don't like you, Patriot.
I don't know. He's been in for a while.
Yeah, but there's still more to come, man. I don't know.
Since 2017, so 7 years.
Only?
Well, how does their voting
every 8 years too? Or what? What is their?
Well, no, because he can stay in office as long as
his current term ends this year.
Oh, so
December
they do
31st.
have term limits.
They do have term limits.
So it's 8 years.
8 years.
So is it every 4 years, like the president? Because I mean, they can only do.
I don't know.
stints.
That's a good question.
Or is it 8 years straight up?
How long is a term for sheriff? And
But isn't a governor
4-year terms.
So he's been
Yeah.
in there for 2 years now.
So
for
he-
two
for
terms.
2 terms.
2 terms. 2
Yeah.
terms.
And are they? What's the maximum number of consecutive terms they could serve? Is there a maximum or minimum? A maximum, right?
Oh, like the president.
Like
I
the
mean, they
president.
can only do 2 terms.
Well, I don't know, man, because Sheriff Roscoe Pico Train was there for years.
Just a good old boy. Didn't mean any harm.
No term limits.
So wait a minute. So no term limits?
No term. They do 4-year terms, but there's no limit to how many terms they can serve. They just have to vote in a new sheriff.
So in other words, if he gets voted out,
So
he can come
if
back.
somebody runs against him
and they
and they beat him, then they become the sheriff.
but then he can come back and
He can
do
always
it
come back
again.
and run it again, but
So there's no term. Okay.
And then so now he's not the sheriff, but is he? I guess demoted
nope,
as
he's
no,
not.
he's out.
He's out.
You're out.
out of the sheriff.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not like in
He
Congress.
became. It's not like he became a sergent to a lieutenant to a
Right,
captain, and
right,
he became
no.
sheriff, and then he just goes back. No,
he's out.
he's out.
Yeah, because where are they going to put him?
But as what?
No, that's when they go into politics.
Yes, that's true.
They go into politics. They go
Politic.
into. They become advisors. They do all that
Yeah.
other stuff.
Yeah, it's not like in Congress. Like if you're in Congress and you want to run for president and you don't make it, like you don't lose your seat. You're still there as long as you're still voted in as a congressman. So, what's his name, Bernie Sanders and Huckabee or whoever else was doing their running or whatever. Maybe not Huckabee, but you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so if they're congressmen or whatever, and then they run for president and they don't make it, they don't lose their job.
Yeah.
They're still congressmen. So
Well, we hope that they're going to be doing their job on this case. We hope that we get some more information, and that's
Well,
not so much for.
it's-
It's not so much for that we want more information, which of course we do.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be in the know, but more important, it's the justice for the child. Whether it was the mom, whether it was someone else, you think about what that child had to endure. You know what I mean? 3 years
I don't
old.
even want to think about that.
And it's just crazy. Now, it's just crazy how many times that we hear about things like that, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, there's another case. We might as well open that one up. There's another case in Ohio where a mom left her 16-month-old child in the playpen and took off to Puerto Rico and Detroit.
So she wasn't
Of
there.
all
When,
things,
she wasn't there when I was there. She was there last year.
Yeah, so they went. So she's still just barely went on trial, but this happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
So she left her her little girl, 16 months old, in the playpen. Just left her there. Didn't worry about giving her food. Didn't worry about changing her diaper. Didn't tell anybody, hey, I'm going to Puerto Rico
you
for
watch
10
her?
days. Can you watch her? She didn't say nothing. She didn't say anything. She just fucking took off, left the baby there, and from what I read was that kid suffered.
Oh yeah,
Suffered.
yeah. She suffered from dehydration. She was extreme dehydration.
Extreme dehydration.
She also was starved, basically starved
Yeah,
to
she's
death.
starved.
So
I mean, by the 7th day, I believe they said it was by the 7th day she had her basically, her body had already
Gone to shock?
used everything that it could.
Does it go into shock?
Yeah, I mean, what else is gonna
Right.
Yeah, it starts eating itself. Basically, it's like taking every little piece of energy or whatever it is to try and stay alive.
So she did leave the baby in the playpen with a few bottles of milk. I'm guessing she thought that was
She thought it would last for 10
the
days?
10 days. But They even say that a neighbor's door camera could hear the babies crying and screaming like at 1 a.m. 2 days after the mom left.
Really?
Yeah.
So that was my question. Like,
Why wouldn't somebody have?
If you heard the baby, why wouldn't you
Say something.
say
and
something
Go
or call?
investigate.
Yes.
What's the saying? Hear something, you see something, say something, right?
Yeah.
And
Especially if it's a baby.
And did they know that the mom took off?
no, I don't think anybody knew.
No, the only way they knew for certain that she had left because they did see her leave on a ring doorbell. So there's video of her leaving the house and then not coming back for 10 days.
But the neighbors didn't see her leave. That's what I'm
Well, the
saying.
neighbors didn't know, I guess.
Right. But you know how they do the investigating, and I'm sure they said, "Hey, you have a ring camera," and they're like, "Yeah." It's probably how they got the video, and then so you can see her leave the house and then come back, 10 days later. So I mean, that's the only way you could tell that she wasn't there. I mean, but
And they talked to children experts, right? And they were saying that children between the ages of 9 months and 18 months, that's when they suffer the most separation anxiety. And she was at 16 months. So
Yeah.
you got to think that after 2 days of not seeing her mom or anyone for that matter, right? That she's crying and freaking out and then of course her body now starts going into shock and starts, suffering from the starvation and dehydration and everything else. When they found the baby was full of urine, feces, even to the point where they said the baby had feces in her mouth.
Yeah.
Like
she had it in her nails. It was
yeah,
in her
she had it
mouth.
all over the place.
Yeah.
They said her parents said, she was suffering from mental illness, right? And so this is why, when we talked about it the past couple of shows, and I think I mentioned it after we went off air after the last show, and I was like, do people use that though as an excuse now, or as a scapegoat, or like as justification for the crap that they do? Right.
Mentally unfit.
And I would buy it.
Insanity.
I would buy it because just the same way that kids have, the children have the separation anxiety. We've all heard how moms have the postpartum, right? Mm-hmm. I get it. I would buy it if she was on this trip alone. If she decided I need to escape and get away, and she was gone for 10 days. First of all, it just so happened. Oh, let me just go to Puerto Rico. I don't think that just came
with my boyfriend.
Yeah. But you left with somebody. You were with a male. You were out having a good time, and then decided to come back, and you left your kid alone. Like, again, I would buy the mental illness. I would buy the mental, she was out of it. If she would have just gone away on her own somewhere.
Or just disappeared. Like, just took off walking.
But she basically went on a 10-day vacation to Puerto Rico, and they have pictures from her social media on the beach with the blue water. I mean, to me, that's not somebody that's suffering from mental illness.
Louie in the background making it rain. Making it rain.
Could you not find a babysitter?
Well, and it's okay. It's funny you say that because the prosecutor, or it was either the judge or the prosecutor, when they started talking about her mental state, and she said she had a lot of stuff going on, she couldn't handle it, yada yada, and it's like, you say you couldn't handle it, like you couldn't just pick up a phone and call somebody and say, hey, I need help. I want to leave. The baby's there. Go look at them. Go take care of them. I left the baby there. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they didn't buy it, because it's like, well, if your mental state is good enough to get on a plane and go to Puerto Rico, you're not crazy. Or you're not. I mean, you know what you're doing.
And they said, she stopped taking her medication. That was another thing, right? So apparently she was on meds. Now her quote to the court, she says, "I'm not trying to justify my actions, but nobody knew how much I was suffering and what I was going through." Again, I get it, but like Kranky said, you can't just let somebody know. Tell somebody. Can you go check on the baby? I left them there. shit, you know, I'll go run over there and let me take the baby.
Right.
But or tell somebody, you know what, man, maybe she did ask. Maybe she asked people and everybody told her no. Okay. At that point I would say, well, I'm leaving her alone.
There's that's why they have that law, right? That's why they have that baby Moses law or whatever. You go to take your baby to a fire station and let them take care of it.
Yeah, maybe in her mind though, she thought she was gonna come back
and the baby was
still gonna be there.
Fine. Are you fucking kidding me?
But that's just, you know, 32 years old. I could see that coming from a 20-year-old, from an 18-year-old. You're 32 years old. You know better. You're a mom. You've been around. You've seen stories. You've been on TikTok. Like, come on. You know. I'm the same way. I just don't buy it. I can't.
So the judge called it the ultimate act of betrayal.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
said that animals take care of their young better than she did.
I don't buy the mental thing. I don't buy it.
Well,
I don't buy the fact that, you know, you were. And look, is it something that I've gone through? No. Like, I've never wanted to leave my kid alone for 10 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't even cross my mind. But it just seemed like it was an excuse for her to go down that road and say, I just got too much shit going on, man. I just can't. Okay, call somebody.
Yeah.
Call an aunt. Call the neighbor. Call the neighbor and say, hey, my kid's here. Can you watch him? Like, you know, if you take off or not, what does it matter? Somebody's watching the damn baby.
You know,
just don't fucking take off.
And people are like, well, you know, you just want justice, and we hear that line all the time, right? We just want justice for so and so. We just want justice for so and so.
For the baby.
What I try to wrap my head around is what justice is being done, though. Okay, you're going to sentence this person. Great. Okay, but
they're still living.
Yeah. Well, so did you hear the quote that the judge said?
No.
So he sentenced her to life in prison.
Right.
Without the possibility of parole. And he says, quote, just as you didn't let Jaylyn out of her confinement until she died, so too you should spend the rest of your life in a cell without freedom.
Holy shit.
The only difference is prison is going to feed you. Now, to me, that's good. Like, I'm glad that somebody said it, right?
Yeah.
But again, when you hear that, I just want justice. What justice can be done for something so horrible, man?
For somebody that's that young, you know, not even old enough to know what's going on, you know,
take care of themselves.
It's like that is the ultimate betrayal. It's like you. That's why you have parents, you know. They're supposed to take care of you. They're supposed to nurture you. You have that connection with the mom, like especially the mom. Mm-hmm. Like that's the connection that you have once you're birthed. Once you come out of that canal, it's like your connection to the mom is like bam, because you were in the stomach, you were in the womb, and now you're out, and that's the connection. And it was, I mean, fuck, there was no connection. Like she just let her die. Just left her in that pen to die. Oh my god!
But you hear that a lot, man. I mean, not so much you just abandon your kid and let them there for 10 days, right? But you hear a lot, and I think we hear it more. And of course, we hear it more because we are privileged to have smartphones and social media and you know, different news outlets and TikTok that gives you all this. You know, well, we're still privileged now to have TikTok. I don't know if we're gonna be privileged later, but you know, where we get a lot of the news.
Our privilege back then was having a pager.
Exactly.
Oh fuck! Beep 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 beep.
Go to hell. Oh, okay.
Oh shit! I love you.
Hello. But you know, we hear that a lot, man. We hear of all the crazy stuff that's going on, and I think that maybe we just weren't privileged to have access to a lot of that information before.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you know, people say, "Man, do you see where the world's going to?" And I'm like, dude, the world's always been there.
Yeah.
We just never heard about all of it because usually our news stations, you know, they're sharing local news.
Right.
So we don't hear the crazy lady from Ohio, or the stuff that happens in Arkansas, or the restaurant in Georgia that put up
kids,
can't parent freaking fee. You know what I mean?
Unfit parent fee.
You know, like we didn't get to hear a lot of that stuff, and now we do. We see the people going in California and going into stores and stealing stuff. Like we see all of that now because it's all available to us, and so I don't believe that it wasn't as bad. I think it's always been bad. I just think that
we just didn't have it in our face.
We didn't have it in our
5
face.
seconds after
they couldn't
it happened.
fit that in the Southside Reporter.
In the Express News.
Oh, you read I used to read the prensa. For those of you who are old enough to know what la prensa was, that's where I used to get my coupons.
La prensa, not la panza.
Oh yeah, we always had that. All right, man, that's enough. Well, let's go on to some more more commentary on Mr. Dan Schneider, huh?
Yeah, well, we thought we would lighten the mood, but
we'll lighten it in a little bit, but because there's even more stuff that's coming out now about him, and he's what do you call it? Like, he's trying to kind of coming out and trying to like, whoa.
He's
guys.
trying to do what Yolanda Saldivar did.
Yeah, whoa, guys, it wasn't that bad. Come on, it wasn't. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Now he's like on a tour. What do you call it? Like he's just trying to save himself.
An apology tour, or what?
No, not necessarily. I mean,
he did apologize. Like of course, he's not apologizing to specific people, but he's saying that was bad. I should never done that, and I apologize to them.
My bad.
Yeah.
That's. There was all because I think they even mentioned it in the documentary how there was always a camera there, and he was always videotaping something. Either him or somebody else had a camera, and there's one that comes out where it's Ariana Grande and one of the other ladies, or now she's a lady, but was speaking, trying to divert his attention away from Ariana because apparently she was wearing like a real short. It wasn't a short skirt, but the skirt was up. And he was just kind of like getting in there, and you can see in the video where she actually grabs her skirt and pushes it down because she knew that he was trying to zoom in on that shit.
Yeah, he was oogling her. So he came out on an interview, and he was interviewed.
Recent,
yeah,
right?
And he was and it was in response to
the documentary.
To the documentary. Mm-hmm. And so the guy that's interviewing him though was a cast member on iCarly. So he's telling him, what do you say to the documentary? What do you say to these allegations? What do you say to all these things that were going on? And he's like, they even ask him specifically, what do you say about you wrote so many shows,
right?
And when you look at a lot of this stuff, people see it and they say that's inappropriate for kids. What do you say about that? And he's like, I made stuff and wrote stuff for kids because kids thought that it was funny. He goes, now if you see it now and it might look inappropriate, I get it. He goes, I have no problem telling them to cut it out of the show.
Yeah.
But when you see the squirting on the face, the water, he even said, man, some of those dares that they were doing, like that was kind of over the line. He's like, yeah, you're right. Like I see it now, and it was like I wish I could take all that back. So he's trying to come out and respond to the documentary. He's saying he's sorry. They even asked him specifically about the massages, and he says, I put people in situations that I never should have, and I was wrong for that. So he's kind of owning up to it, but I'm more than sure his PR person told him, you need to do this.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah. Because you are looking bad and worse every day. And you have people now that weren't on that documentary that are still coming out and saying stuff. That girl Miranda from
iCarly.
From iCarly. Yep. The girl that played Victorious, right? She's coming out and saying more things.
And
like
she's really digging it. She's really getting into him, throwing all that shit out there.
That girl Jeanette, she wrote that book.
Oh, that's
she
right.
freaking let a lot of stuff out, before. And honestly, man, I would love to hear what she has to say now that the documentary has come out. Because what I didn't realize is she had signed something where she couldn't specifically name people. So when if you ever see excerpts from her book or read her book, her book just says producer, says this person, this, but doesn't name people,
right?
Because she basically had kind of like an NDR, like saying you can't, no disclosure, right?
They give an excerpt from the book, from her book in the documentary, and it does say that. It does say producer,
but
or
now
it does say director. Like,
I would love to hear her come out and say some of the other stuff that because she had a lot to say.
Well, if we know where Amanda Bynes is, she in jail?
No, she's doing nails.
She's doing nails. Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that.
She's doing nails, and she looks jacked up.
Dude, she is. Man. So are we still waiting on? Did she say something? Did she come out and say something about
They said
him?
that she's made some comments, but she hasn't like directly accused anybody of anything. I don't know, man. It just depends, bro. If she's on her meds or not.
And I don't know.
We're gonna hear something.
Did we talk about the what are those letters they call when they in court when they write those letters?
That's it.
No, they're.
I forget the name of.
I know what you're talking about.
But the people. Did we talk about that?
No,
I don't think we did. Right?
No, because we hadn't gotten to that yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I hadn't seen it.
We hadn't seen that.
So those not apology letters. God damn it, man. But anyway. So the person that's being prosecuted gets people to write letters for them to the judge, and so they're like, oh well, he's done this and he's such a great person and he's I worked with him for 10 years and blah blah blah, and like so basically in favor of the guy.
They're character witness letters.
Yeah, yes, character witness letters. But some of the people that had wrote these letters. Alan Thicke, the
one that played his wife,
the mom from Growing Pains,
Joanna Kearns,
James Marsden, who came out on Hairspray. I think he came out on Hairspray with Amanda Bynes.
Oh yes,
so he did a character letter for him. There was a couple of other people. I mean,
Leo?
Maybe not well known.
No.
I don't know if it was Leo. There were a couple of other that were well known people that wrote letters for him, and it was like, whoa. And the ultimate, we'll talk about betrayal, but what's his name? The kid, the one that was Drake
Bell.
So Drake is looking at these people, and and he even says it in a documentary. He's like, his side was full of people that were backing him up, and he's like, there was nobody on my side.
I had my mom, my brother, and me.
Yeah, and that was it. So it was like, you talk about betrayal. Like, do they put it in court, like everything that happened to this dude?
Yeah,
and it was so bad that he didn't even want to mention it. He told the lady when they were asking him questions. He's like, "Well, just think about the worst thing that could possibly happen to a kid my age, and go with that." Like how and now it's coming out that there was sodomizing and inanimate objects just that the guy was using on him. I'm like, dude.
Well, some people have come out like Kearns, right? She's come out to say, if I would have known the things. That I know now, I would have never written that letter. But that's and it goes back to the same thing with Masterson. It's the same thing with Kushner and freaking Mila Kunis, where they had to come out and do a statement themselves because they wrote character witness letters for him, and then they were like, "Man, we should have never done that." Right? Now knowing what actually happened, so
is it they shouldn't have done that because. Now knowing
they got outed out,
or they shouldn't have done that because everybody's freaking turning against them,
right?
And making and vilifying
them.
Well, it says in the documentary too that they reached out to Joanna Kearns.
Yes,
and she said that same thing. She's like, "Well, if I would have known what this was about," I'm like, "The dude is on trial for fucking with a young kid. Like,
what else do you need to know?
What do you need to know? Like, how do you? Well, let me defend him.
I'll tell you this. I've had people reach out to me, right, and say, "Hey, can you write a letter?" Right?
Really? Okay.
And honestly. You don't know. So similar to the case that we're talking about, the first one with the mom and her child, where they're considering it a murder suicide. we don't know, right? So a lot of people don't know actually what happened. Mm-hmm. So for somebody who committed a criminal act or is being charged, right, accused, for them to go to somebody that they know very well, or you would think, and say, can you write a letter for me, on my behalf?
Right.
Of course, you're going to write something and BS your way through the letter. And you're going to freaking send it in.
You're going to make them seem like the best person in the world.
But I think Kranky's right. Some of these people, I think, now because they're being outed and looked at, and they're like, wow, how could you do that? Well, I should have never done it. I should have known. If I would have known. No, you know what they're being charged with.
Come on.
I
didn't buy that. I didn't buy that, well, if I would have known that.
But it's at the moment, man. It's literally
at
at the moment. These people are coming to you, and you're not involved in their case, but they're coming to you and say, can you write a letter on my behalf? Okay. And you write a letter and you send it in. I mean,
well, y'all better not fuck up, because if y'all ask me to write, I'm going to say, fuck you. I'm going to
listen to episode 23.
I'm going to tell them the truth. I said, that motherfucker owes me money. I am not going to write a character letter for that motherfucker.
They're like, take some of the things that we recorded and we didn't record.
All I know is my parents knew him as a bad influence.
Oh, man. Kranky.
Oh, man.
God, we could go on about that,
dude,
too.
For real. So you mentioned Amanda Bynes, right? Apparently she has come out and said certain things, but not so much directly at Dan Schneider, but saying that he was a horrible person, but so were Bill Cosby, and so was and they're trying to hold him in the same holding them at the same stature, at the same level as Dan Schneider. They're trying to hold them at the same level as Cosby and John Travolta. This is her words, and she says John Travolta is so much more worse than anything he's ever done.
They were on the movie.
They were together.
Were in Hairspray.
Hairspray.
Yes,
that's right.
And so apparently he everything that they're talking about Dan Schneider, that John Travolta's like that.
Okay, well let's separate this real quick here, because Bill Cosby did some outlandish shit, dude. I don't know if Dan Schneider didn't slip anything into anybody's drink. He didn't, do anything to them when they passed out. This dude just outright said, "Hey, give me a massage." I said, "There's a difference there, man."
And, but he could have been in the dressing room saying, "Can you massage this too?"
That came out too.
Yeah, because
that came out that he was.
They didn't know where Amanda Bynes was at for a lot of times. They didn't know where Ariana Grande was a lot of the times. They didn't know where so and so. You know what I mean?
There were something that came out where he would frequently go into, like, when they would do the dress fittings or whatever. That he was there, watching them.
Kids.
Yeah, kids.
Yeah.
And then he's got Ariana Grande like tossing water all over herself and trying to squeeze water out of a
juice
potato.
out of a potato.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I still think that the same as like the Diddy thing, a lot more is gonna come out.
Diddly.
A lot more is gonna come out. I wonder if anybody's gonna write character letters for Diddy, man.
Oh God.
Maybe J-Lo.
Maybe, because she diddled, as you mentioned.
She diddled Diddy.
It says that there's a meme that came out. It said that the Philadelphia Eagles acquired Diddy because of the tush push.
Oh wow! Yep.
Well, probably more to come from that one. I mean, there's going to be more stuff because it's as usual. I mean, if somebody sees somebody else being that brave, to say stuff, now it's going to give them the power to say
the courage to say,
the courage. I'm gonna, and then they're gonna say something.
Yeah.
So this ain't over yet. This is probably only gonna get.
And if you have TikTok, you'll start to see all these things on your algorithm.
Now, you will now. It's gonna pop up on your Facebook.
Especially
what the fuck is this?
Especially if you're listening to us off your smartphone. Your phone's listening.
Yeah, you're in trouble, man. So, quick shots. Who wants to go? Nobody?
Kranky?
Bueller? No?
So I have one, and it's we might have to rename Quick Shots or do a separate one for just stuff dealing with freaking cars and driving, man.
Because I had one that had to deal with not cars, but just road
in general.
In general.
Well, then you share that one.
Well, I mean, because I was coming home yesterday, and I'm coming home from the area where there's a lot of homeless.
Okay.
And they're crossing the street. They're not using the crosswalk, and they're not stopping for oncoming traffic. They're just walking.
Yes.
And then I honk.
And then they're walking at an angle.
They're walking at an angle, and then you honk, and it's like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
They look at you like, you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm going to be wrong if I run over you.
Right.
Or will you?
But, I mean, that's...
It depends on the BCSO is in charge of the investigation.
Jeez. But they just don't... I mean, do they have a death wish? I mean...
Well, we kind of talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, you did. And you're right. Maybe some of them do. And and we were talking. I heard that one. So that's the episode that I was listening to on the way home. Right when y'all talked about the homeless and do they suffer from mental illness? Right. And I believe that some of them do. I believe some of them do because some people made a decision and a choice that that's what they wanted to do. I get it. But others, like Porky mentioned, things happen. COVID happened. People lost their jobs.
Yeah.
There were traumatic things that happened, and I can see them suffering from a mental illness, right?
Right.
But I want to say, is it 50-50? I don't know, man. A lot of these people I see are addicted to drugs.
Yeah, that's
I
part
literally just gave a guy, $2 because he was like, you got $1, right? And I went to go get pizza. I'm walking out of the pizza store, and the guy's like, "Do you have $1?" And he's literally there scratching his chest and his neck, and I'm like, he's addicted to something. He's feeling right now, and he's just sitting there, twitching and scratching, and I'm like, yeah, bro, here, he's $2, man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, is it for his next fix? Is it for
knows?
food?
Yeah,
like, who knows what it's for, right?
What it is, yeah.
But do the people that are on drugs now, do they suffer from mental illness? Or is that something that they're categorizing everybody with now?
I mean, I don't think they suffer from mental illness because they're on drugs. Their brain is cooked. It's fried.
Yeah. And you could tell just by the way they walk.
You kills a lot of brain cells. And I don't know if brain cells
No,
they don't.
That's why that's why the thing was when we were younger, don't fry your brain because you're going to be screwed for the rest of your
brain.
life.
Your brain on drugs.
Yeah. A frying pan and
egg.
Okay,
but since you mentioned that, if it's because they're on drugs and their brain is cooked, their brain is fried, now would you not consider that mental illness now because they're not mentally stable because of all the drug use? See, that's what I'm saying. I think they put everybody in this one category because they're saying, well, yeah, they're suffering from mental illness because they jacked up their brain doing all these drugs.
Well, I sorry to cut you off, but I proposed that question to somebody the other day, and they said, what if you were forced to do the drugs, and then you became addicted?
Which I've seen,
and then you got that, and then you also got the choice to do it on your own.
Right.
So, like, is there the difference? Is there still a mental illness because you were forced to do them?
It's
the after effects, and then you became addicted to it because you were forced.
And I can see that. I can see that, and I know people. I mean, dude, the first time I ever did a drug, I basically was forced to do it, and glad I never got addicted. But you when you're kind of being put in a position like you're gonna do it or you're not, but if you're not, then this is gonna happen. Like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it then, so I can see people in that position or in that circumstance, but you still have a choice, man.
If you have a choice, you weren't forced to do it.
I think a lot of these people too they're brought up in it.
Well,
it's around,
right?
And so that's all they know, and so they just kind of fall into the same freaking cycle that they saw growing up. I've seen that too.
Well, that's why I didn't want to go to Kranky's parties, because he was a bad influence, and who knows what I would have been.
That's why you weren't allowed to go to Kranky's parties.
But I see your point. I guess when you see it, obviously it happens in real life, but you see it in the movies, like Taken, for instance. They steal his daughter, they steal the girls, and it's basically sex trafficking, but they drug them up.
Yeah.
And then what? Either they drug them up so much that they kill them, or from that point on they're addicted.
Yeah.
And how do you cope with that? So, I mean, that in that
and
case,
then they're in a traumatic experience,
right.
and then now they're turning back to that because that was their escape. So.
I've seen many times, you know.
How the hell did that girl not have PTSD from that? She was able to make a part 2 and a part 3.
Yeah, hey, and she suffered from the same thing over and over.
Yes.
Like, how
Show
are
me
you
the
still?
money. Show me the money. I'll do it for the money.
So going back to you, no, you're not in the wrong. They are. But what are you gonna do?
But it's hard. It's hard.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I mean, besides continuing to honk at them or inching up at them, and then what?
Oh, you gotta stop.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You gotta stop the way from the go and move because I mean you have.
Like, what choice do you have?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, what
I
do you
mean, you
have?
have wrong choices.
If you want to live the rest of your life, you know.
But
Like,
the logical
do you let the intrusive
choice.
thoughts go and take control, or yeah.
What's that? I was actually downtown the other day, and we were driving around, and we're at a light, and all of a sudden, I just see this guy, like out of the corner of my eye. I just see him, and the light's just turning green. The light turned green, and I can see the dude out of the corner of my eye, and I look over, and he ducks in, and he runs right in front of everybody. He wasn't homeless. He didn't look like a homeless guy. He looked well off, you know. But he risked his fucking life just to get across the street faster when the light had already changed, and I stopped, and even Roxanne was like, "Porky, like, come here," and I'm like, I saw him, but is that mental illness? Because like, how stupid can you be to throw yourself in front of traffic just so you can get to the other side?
That's one of those things where
It's just stupid.
I can beat it. I can beat it.
It's just stupidity, though. Because I mean, I could have hit him if I didn't see him out of the corner of my eye. I would have hit him, because that's how late or how far past the green light it already was. Because I was already taking off. That's just stupidity, then, I guess.
It is, but you know, so there's a lot of
is
homeless.
There a mental illness called stupidity?
There's a lot of homeless people right there in the the Marbach area too.
There's
right?
a lot. Dude.
Marbach
There's
at 410.
Homeless people everywhere.
I don't know if y'all have seen, because there literally were people running across the damn highways right there, in between Marbach and 90.
Yeah,
and the people were just running back and forth.
Is that why they built
That's why they built those freaking things, dude.
The other day, I was in the area
cross.
this past weekend, and they built a bridge.
Yeah,
they built a bridge from one side of the night to the other.
Well, not only that, they built the bridge, but they also, on the highway, you know where the medians are at?
The dividers.
They made them higher so people can't be crossing them.
Wow.
Yes. Well, I saw the bridge. I saw because I mean, it was not 90 in Marba, but it was 90 where Lackland's at.
Yeah.
90 in military, right there in that area. And I saw a bridge, and I said, I don't think this bridge has been here before, man.
No, they built that bridge up.
I had never seen that bridge before,
So they would
dude.
cross.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it could be also, I mean, there's apartments that are there across the street. And there's I'm going off topic. But anyway, there's, because when I used to do Lyft, right? And literally, I picked up a lady, and that's right there where you're talking about Lackland, 90, all that. Because there's that bus stop, that big bus stop that's there, right? So the thing is, this lady lived at the apartments across the highway from that bus stop. But the bus she was on doesn't stop
on the other side.
At the side of her apartment. So they have to keep going, and she said, I used to beg the guy, please, just let me off right here. I live right here. But no, the bus would go all the way to the stop on the other side of the highway, and she had to call an Uber or Lyft to come and get her just to go back around and drop her off at the apartments.
Well, we've already acknowledged that bus drivers are pieces of doo-doo. Because they change lanes like they own the freaking streets, man.
You're talking like you're a YouTuber, a TikToker now. Like, you can say shit on this show. You don't have to say pew pew.
Going back to what Porky said, like, it's just stupidity, right? It goes back to a saying that my dad used to say all the time. He was like, ignorance can be educated. Crazy can be medicated, but you can't fix stupid.
That's a good shirt.
It sounds like a shirt. Put it on a t-shirt.
He told me that one time. I don't know. We were going to a restaurant and we were going to go eat, and we were sitting down, and there was some idiot doing something, running around, and he says that, dude, and I busted out laughing, man. I was like, that'd be my dad.
Oh, shit. Well, that's a good one.
Well, my quick shot has to do with parking. So when I was in Puerto Rico, right, and I see this all the time here, but it really frustrated me over there because we went to an area that was real touristy. So there was really no parking anywhere, and I found a parking garage. And the parking garage, as you're going up the levels, all these vehicles are double parked. They're parked on top of a line, which means they're taking up 2 spaces.
Right.
You can't park next to them. And then there were some where you see they were like that, so everybody else did it. So you're losing so many spaces, which made me have to go all the way to the top, right? Well, just today, going to the store, and I see a car double parked, and I'm like, dude, there's literally parking spaces, and I see all these vehicles, and for the most part, they're gonna be
Benzes and
exactly
BMW,
either the high-end cars or the huge-ass trucks.
Well, the stupid Teslas,
right? Well, screw the Teslas. I don't care about them.
Man.
But
them too.
like even the big trucks, right? They're double parking, so that way people don't park next to them.
Of course. Yeah.
And so then right now that happened, right? And then I'm going to the boys' baseball practice right here at Edgewood, and I'm looking and I see 2 parking spaces, and both of them are so tight because they're literally parked double parking. So I was like, you know what? Screw this, man. I went to the one where the person's driver's side, I parked right. I forced my truck, and my truck's not a small truck. I forced my truck into that tight parking spot. I got out the passenger side, so that way they're not gonna be able to get into their driver's side. I was like, man, I said, I wish I would have been in the Explorer, so I could have gone out the hatch. But I was like, dude, like, I hate people that park like that, man. Like,
it happens a lot.
If you're gonna do that, park your ass all the way at the end of the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know, do a freaking Griswold, man. First one here. First one here.
Dad, why are we parking so far?
So when we leave, we'll be the first ones out. You know, go park over there, man. Don't go to the front of the parking lot and take up 2 spaces because you don't want people to park next to you.
And they don't do it. They don't do that at double park at the end of the fucking.
Exactly.
They'll do it right in the middle of everybody, so that nobody parks next to them.
Exactly. Well, I'll park next to them.
Those big ass trucks with the fucking balls hanging on the back of it. Like, dude, come on, dude.
Well,
come on.
If you park like that where I'm going, I'm parking next to you. Just so you know.
Well, I have a dainty little car. I can't do that. I got a dainty little.
I will, and I'll make sure that I'm blocking somebody.
You got a Ram. You got a Ram.
Yes, sir.
You got a Ram. Well, my quick shot was it was actually leaving my sister's house, and then you get that smell of somebody cutting the yard, and I'm like, oh man, it kind of brings back memories, but not fun memories, because I used to cut yards to the summer with my dad, but that's how I stayed in shape, So I used to say for baseball season would come around and I'd be in shape because I'd be cutting yards. But the thing that pissed me off was going down the street, and the guy's got the blower, and he's blowing all the clippings out into the fucking street.
Oh, was that what you sent us on your? Was that gonna be your quick shot?
I'm like,
okay.
This dude, I'm like, get a fucking broom or blow it right back onto your lawn. It's not gonna hurt it. I've been cutting yards for 30 years. It's not gonna hurt your fucking grass. Blow it back onto the grass.
But it's gonna hurt the street.
Well, you're making a mess.
But you're making a mess, dude. You're gonna You're gonna have all this dead fucking grass in the middle of your.
Every time a car runs over it, it's gonna blow away.
I didn't know we had a rebuttal on these.
Well, let me tell you. Let me tell you. I tried that.
It bothers me.
I tried that.
OCD.
I tried that, and my dad looked at me and he's like, "What are you doing?" Because every once in a while I'll go help my dad cut his grass, right?
Yeah.
And he gets the blower and I got it there, I got it, and I'm blowing it into the street, and he's looking at me like, "What are you doing?" So then he goes with the push broom, and then he gets the blower and he's like, "No." So he starts blowing it back to an area, and then I have to go and sweep it all up, and I'm like, "This guy, like."
That's what like people who don't cut yards don't know it will not hurt your grass. Just blow it right back onto your fucking grass, and it might even help it grow. You never know.
That's why they didn't want it to grow anymore, because they just cut it.
They're tired of cutting it.
They don't want to cut it next week.
Well, when you said that, Porky, and I'm glad you brought it up. Did you hear about the guy that was shot
For doing what?
3 weeks ago? Right here off of Highway 90, some apartments off of Highway 90. The guy came out. He was upset that the landscaping crew at the apartments were blowing leaves on his vehicle.
Are you fucking kidding
See, that's
me?
different. I mean, I'm not saying he should have shot him.
Well, I mean,
He's vindicated.
That's different.
Do you work for the BCSO? But you got to think about it. So the landscapers are out there in an apartment community, and they're cutting the grass on the little areas that have grass, right, and along the edges and stuff, and then they're blowing it out into the street. Well, the guy was upset that his vehicle was parked near where they were blowing the leaves, and the report says that he came out once and said something, and the guy kind of like shrugged him off like, "Bro, I'm just doing my job." And then he came out with a pistol and ends up shooting him. So he shot the guy. I don't think he killed him. I think he was in critical condition. But he basically shot the landscaper for blowing leaves on his vehicle.
Oh my god! Come on.
Okay, but was he parked?
Yeah, it was parked.
I don't know. It was parked.
He was moving.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. Hold on. I'm not gonna lie. I've gotten pissed off when I'm driving and the landscapers, and I'm like, "You see me coming? Stop blowing. Wait till I pass." And they keep doing it. So I'll be like, "Bro, like, what's up?" You know? I mean, I don't know. Pissed off me. I'm gonna go shoot the guy, but I can see where he was going. I mean, I see where he was
Louie gets out of the car and then pew 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 pew.
Was he parked in the spot where you're supposed to park in the complex, or was he parked was he not supposed to be parked in that spot?
Well, no. It just says that he was parked. It was parked in the complex. So I'm assuming when I've seen that apartment complex, there's no like assigned parking unless you're under the little covered areas.
And
right?
normally you would have to pay for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was just parked in a regular parking spot, but he just felt like, dude, you're.
I mean, what the fuck, man? I mean, what does it matter? It doesn't matter. What does it matter if he was parked under under the parking thing or not?
No, because maybe he could have been parked. Maybe it could be one of those where he's parked on the street, like an apartment that's parked on the street.
Yeah.
And there is free for
fair
game,
you
know.
Game.
But if you're parked in the complex, I mean, gotta have some little consideration.
No, and I agree.
But did he do it maliciously? Like, did he purposely blow?
I don't think he did it purposely, but I'm sure. I mean,
who knows? Maybe he wasn't doing it purposely. Then he got told something and did it purposely, and then he got shot.
Oh.
Now here's the thing, though. I get what you're saying, but you know what? I've seen a lot of the landscapers when they're coming out, and a lot of the times they're trying to, because they still have to cut, even if your truck's parked right there or your car's parked right there, they still have to cut the grass there.
Yeah.
Right? So what they're doing is they're even blowing like the stuff from under your vehicle out, so that way they can blow it to where they need to get it to. And maybe it was just hitting his vehicle. I just think the guy overreacted.
But you got that pissed off.
Well,
to
and
shoot
you know
somebody,
what?
dude?
And then when I'm rabbit holing, the guy had a freaking violent streak and had already had some charges on him for stupid stuff. So this just kind of sealed his fate there. But
what kind of car was it?
It was a Yugo.
It was a Tesla.
Fucking Teslas, man. Oh shit!
So
I gotta.
Then the moral of the story is don't blow the grass.
Don't blow it onto the car. Don't blow it down to the street. Like what? Because what if he was blowing down to the street and there's a car driving by and he gets pissed off
with the windows down
with the windows down,
and then he and then he gets out and then pew pew. Pew pew. God damn, man. So we gotta finish off here. I wanted to finish off with this. Unless y'all had something else? No,
I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, because we were talking about turning, last time. So this is different now. Okay, so let's say there's a lot of construction on this street, so it's down to a 1 lane.
Let me bring up my thing here.
What are you bringing up, man?
Go ahead.
Okay, it has nothing to do with. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be in a driver's manual or anything like. Or a driver's ed manual or whatever. It's just something. Okay, so you're on a street that's, construction, so it's down to 1 lane, and you come to the signal light. Now the lane the only lane that's open is the turning lane, where you have the arrow.
Okay.
So if the lights turn green over here, but you're turning this way.
Do you go?
Or do you wait for the arrow to turn green and then go? Because let's say the tables were turned. Let's say if the lane was closed
on the turning lane.
No, let's say the lane was open on the lane. Yeah, let's say that the lane was closed on the turning lane, but it was open on the others. Well, the arrow for the turning lane, is closed. But
if it turns green, do you go?
Yeah, if it's green, do you go now? Because it's green. And you still need to turn.
Okay, but so if it turns green and you're on the main lane, you're not on the turning lane, but the turning lane's closed and the turning light signal changes, I would go, just because the only reason that green light is changing, that means that the other oncoming traffic is not going to come, right? Okay. Now, if you're on the opposite side,
but was there traffic going through?
That's what. Yeah. So the traffic is still coming this way too.
Okay.
But it's not at that time of day.
So it wasn't like
it's not freaking flowing. Yeah, now if it's flowing, okay. But if it's not flowing and it's dark outside, where nobody can see you, come on, man.
Just take it.
So here's what I'll say. If the turning lane is open and the main lane is closed, and then your green light comes on, you take it. But you're saying if the turning light turns on,
if the turning light is red, but the other lights turn green,
but you were still gonna turn.
But you're gonna turn the way the arrow is saying to turn.
Yeah.
Do you wait till that?
I would proceed with caution.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Proceed with caution
and once it opens up,
everybody in back of you
is waiting.
Is probably wanting to go straight.
Yes.
But they can't because
the
construction.
No. Right.
People don't know how to freaking fix streets in a certain amount of time that they have to.
No, they start one project and they start another project and then they forget about the one project.
Forget about that one project.
Well, actually, and I'm going to do this because that's weird that you bring that up. There's a section of street down on the south side that I need to take a picture of or video to show y'all, because I want to get your feedback on it and I want to know what y'all think.
I thought you were gonna send it.
I was.
You said you need to see this, and then when nothing.
No. Yeah, I was, because I was thinking I was gonna draw it out, and then I said no. I said I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna take pictures and I'm gonna take video because I want to figure out. I want y'all to see. I want to get what y'all think about it. No. Oh. It's actually at Gillette and Salsamora.
Oh, okay.
Where the Dairy Queen used to be.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it used to be. It's not there no more. But that light right there, I'm not going to go into it because I'll take video. So we'll talk about it next time. But
and you got to post it.
I want to see what y'all say about it, because Roxanne is always on my ass about it. I'm like, this is fucking wrong. It's completely wrong.
All right. Then.
Now, is it going...
If you're going on Gillette, which runs east to west, right? Okay. So if I'm going...
Towards St. Bon.
If I'm going east, right?
Towards St. Bon east or towards Pleasanton?
Towards 16.
Towards 16,
okay. Right? So if I'm going... So it's a one lane. And here's the thing. Oh, fuck, we might as well go into it.
It's one lane.
So when you're on Gillette up into Salsamora, it's one lane. One lane going west,
after
one lane going east.
After you pass Salsamora, it turns into two lanes. Yes.
So when you go to the other side of Salsamora, it's two lanes, and then there's a turning lane right in the middle. But that doesn't matter. The point is that it goes from one lane to two lanes on the other side.
Yeah.
The light, okay, so it's a one lane, remember. So right when you get to the light, there's a little extra section of road that comes up, right?
Yes.
So people can turn right. There's no arrow up there. It's a green light.
So people get in that lane to go straight.
Yeah, but see, that's okay. But on this lane here, there's nothing in the street that says it's a turning lane only.
Yeah, that's not.
So, but the light is a green arrow.
But that light is a yellow arrow too. It's one of those.
Well, but the thing is, it's like people get into this lane
to turn.
But if the person in front of them
is going,
okay, so the person in front of them wants to turn, but the person behind them wants to go straight, but the green light says for you to turn. But people stop.
And they're stopping because they don't want to turn?
And they're stopping because this is why I'm saying I gotta take video, because I want y'all to see.
But so the light is the light the one that has the red, the green, and the green arrow all on the one?
Yes, it's one of those.
Yes, right. Yeah. Okay.
I think it's one of those. I think I'm thinking what you're trying to say is that when it turns yellow, you know how
if the green arrow is not there, then people aren't turning.
If it's a remember there's a yellow arrow too.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
Where you have to yield to wait for us to see if it's clear.
Oncoming traffic, yeah.
And then you turn. I think that's what it is.
So people are trying to go straight, right? I don't understand. There's gotta be some signal. You gotta
clarity.
Put something in the street that says, okay, this is a turning lane, or this one right here
so you're
keep
saying
going
you gotta
straight.
paint the arrows on the street so that way it can show it's
because
for both.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's either an only or for both.
Right, and there's two different things going on, because people think that if you get into this lane, you have to turn right. No, you can keep going straight.
Yeah.
But when you get into this lane and don't turn,
people
the
get pissed
fucking
off.
people behind you start
Yeah.
beep. Like, motherfucker, I don't have to turn.
Yeah.
It's not a turning lane.
Because the light's
straight.
red.
Yes.
And he wants to go straight.
To go straight, and the light's red.
But they're thinking
it's
because
not
the
a
little
turning
section
lane.
that opens up that's the turning lane, and it's not. No,
God,
you're right.
That little section right there pisses me
Unless it
off.
specifically says, and there's
Only.
a sign that says turn only.
Right.
It's not a turn only lane. You can go straight.
Even if the light, like everything else is red, but this is a turning. Like if it says it's a turning lane and that green arrow starts pointing right, then of course you can go.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just a regular
light. Yeah.
regular light.
Yeah. No.
Well, if people use their blinkers like they should, maybe you'd know.
Correct. Then you know that, hey, he's not going. If he doesn't have his blinker on, I'm assuming he's going straight.
I still have to get video though, because I
know
want
what
y'all
you're
to.
talking about.
Yeah, but
I know what you're talking about too, though.
That lane, not the one on the right.
I know
That one with the.
But
that
you got to
one,
get video so that way our listeners can know.
But
And you got to post it.
because I want to show y'all what it is, and people get so pissed off that they literally will like cut. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll cut. They'll cut behind somebody and they'll just go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, there's something needs to be fixed here. This isn't right. You know, either make it a turning lane only, which it's not. Why? Because it's two lanes on the other side.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I will go and I'll take pictures and I'll put video and I'll put it on the page so that way everybody can see it. I'm telling you, man. It just
The solution I have for you, Porky, is to stay away from that area.
Go around.
Go around. Shit, man. I'm just gonna cut through just gonna cut through everything.
Cut through the Dairy Queen.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what they do. They cut through the Dairy Queen because if I'm there at the light, and they're like, and then they start cutting through the fucking Dairy Queen and turning. I'm like, oh.
Well, I saw they were already making it something else. So what is it?
No idea, because it's been like that for about 8 months now. They haven't done anything else to it. It's just sitting there. Well, anyway, if you're from the South Side, you would know. But if you're not, then you don't. Unless you're listening to
Make
us
a trip, go visit.
Unless you're listening to us in Pakistan.
That's right.
Well, I was going to finish off with these questions, but I went into that goddamn light thing. But I guess we'll just wait. Well, let me ask you one. Let me ask you one, and then we'll call it a night. So like I always say, I got this from a web page, and I didn't think of these, but they're just humorous questions. How important does a person have to be before they are considered assassinated instead of murdered?
I would say they have to be at a level of, like, at a position.
So you're saying only presidents can be assassinated?
No, not presidents. I mean, you can assassinate
I think what it sounds like only government officials are assassinated.
And
While everybody else is murdered.
Like, is there an answer to that?
No.
Or is just
a question? Yeah.
But Biggie and Tupac were shot.
It was a gang war. Yeah. All right. So there you go. So
that's I guess my thing.
Is it only considered for people that are higher up?
Because then assassination is murder.
Kings, presidents.
I mean, what is the meaning of assassination, and what is the other meaning?
Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. Assassination is the willful killing by a sudden, secret, or planned attack of a person, especially if prominent or important.
Okay.
So I guess nobody else is important, but
only nobody those prominent people.
Yes.
So that's what from Wikipedia. Assassination is the willful killing by a sudden, secret, or planned attack of a person, especially if prominent or important. And it says notoriety, financial, military, political, anything like that. So,
wow.
Honestly, if you could say that Tupac and Biggie were assassinated.
But I guess the question is, why wouldn't they be murdered? Because if you kill somebody, you murdered them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's the same thing.
Do you have a lechusa outside, or what's going on?
Yeah,
Yorona?
I don't know.
Well,
you can probably hear that.
But that assassinations, it's basically when they have an assassin or a hitman. Is why they call it assassination, right? Because they have somebody that has planned to kill that person, and usually it's somebody that's I don't say paid, but directed to pull this act off.
They were like a secret agent was cats.
Okay, we were just talking about this earlier. Should we go check, man?
That's a cat.
Oh, those are cats.
Those are cats.
Hold on. We got to break in the action here because we need to make sure that there's no babies.
Get out of here.
Oh, the cat. They're getting ready to pounce on each other.
They were face to face. I guess one didn't want to turn around for the other one. I don't know.
Well, it's good that you checked because they sounded like fucking like babies. Babies are crying out there.
We just talked about this. Maybe we should check. Hear something, see something, say something,
man. Let me do one more. Let me find a good one here. Okay. If a deaf person has to go to court, is it still called a hearing? My apologies to any deaf people that are listening.
That's even worse, man. Come on. And did my brother-in-law send you these?
Yeah, I didn't think that one out. I didn't think that one through.
Yes, it is because the court is hearing the case. It's not the person that's hearing it. But I like your style.
Oh, wow.
And then he throws that in, dude.
Yeah, that one just came out. That was a little bit of Roger verbal vomit.
Dude, hey, we might have to share some of Pedro's that he sends us, man. Golly.
Okay, let me finish it. Okay, this one is kind of how you mentioned earlier, so I'll finish with this.
Are we doing dark humor right now?
Yeah. Well, no, this one was because he brought it up, because Kranky brought it up. Brain cells come and brain cells go, but why do fat cells live forever?
Because you can produce fat. You don't produce brain cells.
Well, go to Sonobello and you can get it taken care of. Sonobello.
Well, I don't know. This one says mental focus. Isn't that building brain cells?
Well, and have you seen the commercial that, what's her name? The one from The Big Bang Theory.
Kaylee Cuoco?
She's an actual neuroscientist.
Oh, you're talking about Malik.
Yeah, the chick from,
Malik Bialam.
Yeah, like she's an actual neuroscientist, and there's a commercial that she promotes, like some freaking like pills or whatever that you take that help. But see, I don't think it helps build, but it helps you. It does help you stay focused, and it also helps with preventing like dementia and Alzheimer's.
Does it?
That's what the little head inside the big head. If you don't know where that's from, it's from Men in Black.
I don't know. See, all we've known is that you have one set of brain cells, and once they're gone, that's it.
Yeah,
once they're fried, they're fried. It's like I had to try and explain to Boston the other day because he's like, he was talking about skin. And I said, well, you're going to have skin forever, Dad. I said, you know why you scratch? And he's like, what do you mean, why do you scratch? I said, do you ever have an itch? Like, and you scratch your arm? He's like, yeah. And I said, well, that's your cells when they multiply and your skin dies. I said, and that's why you itch, because it's
shed.
You're shedding. So that's what you're doing, is you're scraping off that dead cell. And I said, and that's why you scratch. He's like, well, like in the morning when I scratch? I was like, when you're in the morning, it might be different. You're just kind of stretching. But anyway.
So according to verywellmind.com.
Pornhub.com?
That's been canceled in Texas.
Damn it.
While it was previously believed that adult neurogenesis was not possible, more recent research suggests that it does happen, at least in key regions of the brain. Research is still going on, but recent evidence suggests that brain cells are capable of regrowing and restoring lost functions.
So
it's possible to create new neurons in certain parts of your brain. Doesn't say all parts, but in certain parts.
But are neurons the same thing as what we're talking about? Or is it something else? Like, is it? So then it's possible that it could help dementia and not. Huh. So then it's possible. So we can bring the Titanic back.
Now with that little boat.
Oh my God. Oh, dude. I guess we gotta call it. I think we need some sleep. Oh, man. Any parting shots? Anything, you guys?
No, my name's not Dan Schneider.
No, yeah, well.
I gotta pay.
I do believe he said he had to pay. All right,
Dr. Peppers.
All right, crime junkies. We'll see y'all next time. This is what we're turning into over here.
Wait a minute. Why is it that everybody that's on TikTok thinks that they're an investigator, a crime reporter? All they're doing is regurgitating the everything else that's already been out.
Especially when they have a green screen, right?
Yeah.
And they're showing let me give you the update.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I just saw that in the last TikTok.
Yeah, or those ones that are there and they're just going like that. Pointing.
Yeah, they're pointing.
They're just pointing.
I like the ones that give you what's going on and they come back to the. Well, I was wrong in my last. So let me clarify. What's really going on now. After I read the freaking article, instead of just jumping to conclusions.
But you know why? Because they make money. Because they have so many damn views. They have so many people commenting.
It's so crazy, man.
Yeah, dude.
Because that fucking algorithm.
Well, and I'm seeing some of the people that are doing it, and I'm like, you have no business. One, in front of a camera.
Exactly.
Two, being heard, because you can't speak. Like.
Well, it was like the ones from here with the case, with the big case, about the murder and they were going, this is Chismosa, I'm over here reporting from the. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? You're not a reporter.
There was even something that went live.
That was her, probably.
Was it her?
Yeah, it was her.
Yeah, she was.
Are you fucking
didn't she get to the scene or something?
Yeah, she was there, and she was just like she was reacting out of the family that was there. And she's something's going on. Somebody hold the camera. I'm like, fuck, you're not a reporter, dude. You're not. That's my parting shot, man.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it, man. I just wanted to get it off my chest, man. All right, man. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.